Last week, Teardown got its official gameplay trailer, and the following day I got a message on Twitter from one of the game's makers who offered me access to a preview version of the game. Wow. I assumed it was just for a sneak preview, but he said I could produce whatever kind of content I liked about it, provided I didn't do stupid stuff like to edit the game's files or anything like that. What an honour, and a goldmine for YouTube content. I booted the game up and messed around with it for a while as I came up with ideas for a video about it. And suddenly it dawned on me the responsibility that I had been given. Did he know the power I had? The trust he must have had in me to be the first outsider to showcase his passion project. This video of mine would be the first time that many people would have seen the game Teardown. Let me just say now that the game is great. If you've watched my other videos about it, you'll know what to expect from it, and there are no horrible surprises lurking about to spoil your first experience of the game. If you're going to come away from this video thinking anything, then let it be how I overthink, overanalyze and needlessly worry about everything. But the situation I found myself in with Teardown is an interesting one. What exactly is my relationship with this product? Clearly, I've been given it because I'm a YouTuber and I'll be giving the game exposure. But at the same time, when the game's still in development and as one of the first people to show it, that's a lot of responsibility I'm given to get the first impression right. The right first impression. What does that entail? That doesn't mean to make the game sound as amazing as possible. That's not my job. I'm not here to hype people up by making Teardown out to be something that it isn't. That would be a terrible idea, as it would come back to bite me and everybody else come release day. Nor is this to be a review of the game. It's an early unfinished preview to show the selling point this game's based around. So I think the right first impression is to make it clear what this game is and what it isn't, and to show some nice footage while I'm at it. So you'd think I could just film myself running around, blowing stuff up for 10 minutes, and that would be okay. Yes, that would be okay. But I want for my videos to be more than that. I want my videos to be informative. So I talk. And doing that on YouTube is a dangerous game. It's a lot like playing Chinese whispers. What I say, and the manner in which I say it, can be mistakenly misinterpreted, twisted, pulled out of context, or exaggerated. Things can snowball, leading to widespread misinformation being shared online, stemming from my original video. I don't want that to happen. I haven't seen this happen with my Teardown videos just yet, so maybe I did a good enough job. But this video talks about how I've tried to avoid such problems with my Teardown videos in the first place. Hopefully, when you finally play the game for yourself, it will be closer to what you had expected than had I not made the videos the way I did. Admittedly, this isn't really a first impression. Dennis has been posting short clips of his game online for years. The trailer was released last week, but for the mainstream, YouTubers' videos and what they say about the game will be the first time many will have seen the game in action. If I was making a game, I don't know how much I'd trust YouTubers with the responsibility of making the right first impression. Imagine they shat all over my game, or made it out to be something that it wasn't. Generating publicity about a game is dangerous business, which is why I felt so honoured that I was entrusted with it. Does it count as a sponsorship? I wasn't paid, but I was given it for free in the hope that my content would benefit the product. And being such a fanatic about this kind of tech, I'm hardly going to be representative of your average gamer. I guess one benefit of giving YouTubers early builds is that they have a better understanding of how their audience behaves and how they will react to stuff. As an example, I knew I couldn't show any bugs with this game. It is, after all, still an early build. Bugs are to be expected, and I don't want stuff that's said to be blown out of proportion or out of context. Simply by mentioning a bug, it could imply to viewers that I consider it to be a serious issue, and it could unfairly ruin the first impression that many people have about the game. Instead, any bugs I found I simply reported to Teardown's makers. I'm not just a content creator here, I'm also a playtester. So I wanted to avoid derailing an early preview by discussing bugs that I expect will be resolved by the game's official release. Just so you know, Teardown isn't a buggy game, and the bugs I did encounter were minor, like an occasional clicking sound during impacts, or large house fires spawning phantom floating fires hovering in the air nearby. I also discovered an exploit straight out of Half-Life 2 speedrunning, where holding an item lets you run through it, then dropping it again pushes you up until you're stood on top of it, which could be used to glitch through ceilings in speedruns. Instead of covering these things in my video, I simply forwarded them on to the game's makers so that they can be addressed before release. The bigger issues are things that won't be changed before release. For example, things float until they're fully separated from the ground, which means that buildings defy gravity and stuff doesn't crumble under its own weight. I think this was one thing that many people might not have known about the game until viewing my video, and I hate being the bringer of bad news. But I covered this and tried to do so in a way that was both informative and that wouldn't blow the issue out of all proportion. I'm personally sad that Teardown has this limitation, but I can't say I'm too surprised. Is it a big deal? Yes and no. The only mode it really matters in is the sandbox, where it would have added dozens of hours of fun for players wanting to trigger huge collapses as buildings knocked into each other. In fact, yes, I am very disappointed that this isn't a thing. But if it is any help, you'll still get dozens of hours of fun from the sandbox. Most destruction that I've experimented with wouldn't have resulted in that kind of collapse anyway, and there are still all kinds of cool ways for soft joints, falling objects and fires to interact with each other in unpredictable ways. Near the end of this video I suggest a mode that I think players would enjoy if they like this sort of stuff, but it is just a dream of mine and not something official. See, I'm doing it again. I can't just say it doesn't support this kind of destruction, I have to explain why the game's still worth playing despite not having that. It's not that I'm trying to paint an overly positive picture of the game, it's just that by not saying the good bits, viewers would be left with an overly negative impression, because the game's destruction is still super fun and impressive, and it is still worth playing simply for that. But in this regard, I felt it was important to mention this limitation, so as not to disappoint players once they finally get their hands on the game. So I feel my role is to showcase the game, minus the bugs, but also without hyping it up to be something that it isn't. There's the temptation to go really overboard with the amount of content I create for it. Had I been given this game 5 years ago, I'd probably have flooded my channel with dozens of videos covering all sorts of destruction and content. I think viewers would probably still want me to do that, and YouTube's algorithms certainly want that as well. So while I considered it, I decided that fewer, bigger videos were better so as to avoid diluting the impact of the game. It also avoids flooding my channel with content that people may or may not be interested in, by channeling interested viewers towards fewer but better quality videos about the game instead. Plus, any YouTuber can show generic gameplay. I guess, looking at it like this, I traded short-term views for long-term growth and brand recognition. The problem with producing informative videos is that I don't want to make mistakes, which I do. With my first Teardown video a year ago, I mistook this tweet for him saying that if you thought RTX was slow, just you wait for voxel-based ray tracing, which makes it look fast. When actually he's saying the opposite, that voxels are faster. That's a horrible sort of mistake to make. Back then I had no way of checking my video for errors such as this one, and unfortunately there's no way to correct videos on YouTube. Hopefully someday they'll invent some kind of annotation system, but until then I'll just have to rely on the description or a pinned comment to highlight the problem, which isn't ideal and could derail the comment section. This time around I've been able to run my Teardown videos by the game's maker to ensure that I get it right. But I still get stuff wrong. I said the reason for the floaty buildings was a gameplay one based on what was said in this interview he had last year. Technically I was right, he did believe floaty structures benefited the gameplay, but the way I conveyed this in my video made viewers think he could flick a switch and enable convincing collapses for sandbox mode, when the reality is the game's engine can't do this, and this limitation just happens to benefit the type of gameplay he's aiming for. Hence why it was even more important to clarify the floaty structures thing in my follow-up video. So that's why I felt so much responsibility with these videos. What I say and what I show will leave a lasting impression and will shape players' opinions about the game. Though with hindsight I can see that the game was given to a number of other YouTubers as well, most of whom haven't been so careful. I've seen edited game files, I've seen videos spammed, I've seen hyperbolic titles and overhyped commentary. I've even seen speculation and opinion masked as fact. I've seen people literally copying exactly what I've said and done in my videos, which is fine because my stuff's awesome. There's one last reason why giving early previews to YouTubers could be a good thing. As a game developer, you end up only seeing your creation from your own perspective. It helps to see others playing it, which YouTubers often show a lot of, and publicly. And the comment sections of these videos document the thoughts of hundreds of potential buyers, discussing what they want from the game. How could that not be of value to the game's developers? I have my own thoughts about Teardown. I don't expect these things to be featured in the finished game, since they may not be in line with what his vision for his game is. But I like to dream. I want dynamic water simulations. It seems like something Dennis would do, and it would complement the fire mechanics nicely. And I would love to see water sloshing through corridors and pouring through cracks in walls. It definitely suits the sort of simulation this game is. I picture a huge tanker crashing into a burning building, or being able to construct a dam to seal up a river. Yes, I'm aware of how demanding this stuff is, just as I was 10 years ago. But I'd still like it. And the other thing I'd like, and something I've suggested to Teardown's makers, would be an arena mode. Sven Co-op had a brilliant level that let you spawn weapons and enemies inside a central courtyard, and I had hours of fun watching the various monsters in the game squaring off against one another. With Teardown, imagine one where you could spawn equipment and pre-made structures. In a limited setting such as this, there would be more processing power left to calculate soft joints and more elaborate physics, which would be great for people who want the best quality destruction this game can showcase. Slowdown would be more acceptable too, and less game breaking. And I just know there would be people out there who wouldn't even touch the rest of the game, happy instead simply in this arena, spawning buildings, then smashing them up with a hammer until they collapsed. I'd be one of them. Whatever happens, I'm sure there will be all sorts of cool stuff in the finished game, and I can't wait to play it. And I hope my contributions have helped Teardown, its developers, and its community.